Why is Barcelona planning to ban Airbnb? Why are protesters telling tourists to go home? What's really going on? Let's dive into the heart of Spain's tourism dilemma and see how it might affect your next Spanish getaway. First up, we've got 8 reasons why Spain is pushing back against tourism. Buckle up, because this might surprise you. 1. Overcrowding. Picture this: Malaga's streets so packed you can barely move. That's the reality in many Spanish hotspots, leading locals to cry out, "This isn't tourism, it's colonization." In Barcelona, the famous La Rambla is often a sea of tourists, making locals feel like strangers in their own city. The Canary Islands, once a peaceful paradise, now struggle with beaches and restaurants bursting at the seams. This overcrowding isn't just inconvenient, it's changing the very character of these beloved destinations. 2. Housing crisis. Spain's facing a shortage of 600,000 homes, and it's not just a number, it's a crisis affecting real people. With sky-high costs and low salaries, families are struggling to keep a roof over their heads. In cities like Madrid and Barcelona, rent prices have skyrocketed by over 50% in the last 5 years. Many Spaniards are spending a staggering 40% of their income just on housing. This isn't just about tourists. It's about locals being priced out of their own neighborhoods. Living with parents. Young Spaniards are feeling the pinch. The average age to move out? A whopping 34 years old. This isn't because they love living with mom and dad. It's because they simply can't afford to leave. With youth unemployment hovering around 30%, and entry-level salaries that haven't kept pace with living costs, an entire generation is struggling to start their adult lives. This delay has ripple effects on everything from marriage rates to birth rates, potentially reshaping Spanish society. Vacation rental takeover. In Malaga's historic center, nearly half the homes are now Airbnbs. Great for tourists, but not so much for locals looking for a place to live. This isn't just happening in Malaga. Cities across Spain are seeing residential areas transform into de facto hotel districts. In Barcelona's Gothic quarter, the number of residents has dropped by 45% in recent years. These ghost neighborhoods might be convenient for visitors, but they're eroding the very culture that makes Spain so appealing. Traditions under threat. Even Spain's famous nudist beaches aren't safe, with clothed tourists crashing the party in Catalonia. It's not only about the bare skin, it's about protecting cultural identity. In Pamplona, the influx of tourists at the running of the Bulls Festival has locals concerned about maintaining its true essence. In Seville, traditional flamenco shows are being replaced by watered-down versions catering to tourist tastes. These changes might seem small, but they're chipping away at Spain's rich cultural heritage. Community chaos. Imagine living in a town of 195 people that sees over 1 million visitors a year. That's the reality for one unlucky spot in Menorca. This extreme example highlights a broader issue. Small communities across Spain are being overwhelmed by tourism. In places like Ronda and Andalusia, locals struggle to go about their daily lives as tour buses clog narrow streets, and crowds swarm local shops. The sense of community that once defined these towns is at risk of disappearing entirely. Heritage at risk. Those beautiful old buildings, they're not loving the tourist crowds. In Valencia, the very air inside historic sites is changing, putting these treasures at risk. The Alhambra in Granada now limits visitor numbers to prevent damage from humidity and CO2. In Barcelona, the iconic Sagrada Familia faces accelerated erosion due to constant tourist traffic. It's a cruel irony. The more people come to admire Spain's heritage, the faster it's being worn away. Spain is actively addressing these challenges. Here's how. Mallorca and Barcelona are limiting cruise ship arrivals to reduce the influx of day trippers. New regulations in Mallorca and Barcelona also restrict tour group sizes to make cities more livable for residents. Seville plans to charge entry fees for major attractions to manage visitor numbers and fund preservation. Other cities, like Barcelona, are following suit. Cities are freezing new rental licenses and limiting short-term rentals to make housing more affordable for residents. Barcelona aims for a total ban by 2029. Valencia and other cities are cracking down on illegal vacation rentals to ensure accommodations meet safety and tax regulations. Spain's commitment to preserving its heritage and quality of life shows they are serious about creating a balanced and sustainable tourism industry. As a visitor, being aware of these efforts can help you contribute positively to this beautiful country's future. So, when you plan your next trip to Spain, remember to travel thoughtfully and respectfully.